you have to let go of this idea that being a creative and being an artist, that you can just share your work and people are going to buy it, and bam, you're a full-time artist with a career. It doesn't work that way. Hi everyone. So I wanted to do a video today talking about some of the main lessons that I have learned on my kind of journey as to journey trying to become like a full-time artist. So just to give you a little bit of a background, I guess, I've been working as a part-time colored pencil commission artist probably for about the past 4 or 5 years. The last 2 years more kind of professionally, I guess you would say. So over that time, I've learned a lot of different things. And the reason I wanted to share it is because every artist has a different journey. Every artist has different experiences and different goals. And I think that sharing it from different artist perspectives, maybe some of you will relate, and maybe there'll be certain situations that I've experienced that you might relate to or be in a similar situation. So I wanted to share it with you guys. So the main three things that I've learned, I will go into a bit more detail about, are the first one: you have to get out of that starving artist kind of mentality where, oh, you can't make a career out of art, you can't make money from art, all that kind of thing. You need to throw that out because it's not helping you. The second thing I wanted to talk about is that it's going to take you a lot longer and it's going to take a lot more work than you think it's going to take. And the last thing, which has been a hard lesson for me to learn as well, is that you have to let go of this idea that being a creative and being an artist, that you can just share your work and people are going to buy it, and bam, you're a full-time artist with a career. It doesn't work that way. So let's get started. So the first thing that I said about letting go of that starving artist kind of mentality. So now I see this so much. I'm on some art groups like on Facebook just because I like seeing, again, because I like listening to other artists' perspectives and things that have helped them or challenges that they're having, and how they've maybe overcome them, or sharing their work. But a lot of the time, what I hear is, oh, you can't make money as an artist, or it's too hard, or no one wants to buy your work. And this kind of relates to the third thing that I said about how how you can't just put your art out there and expect that people are just going to buy, and that you're going to have an easy time and you can just make a career that way, because it doesn't work like that. So the first thing that I want to address here is that, and this again was a hard truth for me. So basically, I'll give you a little bit of a background with this. So when I first started trying to make a business out of my artwork, I tried doing a couple of like trade shows or art shows. So I would set up like a little stall at a craft fair with some of my prints and some of my originals and a few greetings cards, that kind of thing. And the first one that I did, I thought, oh, this is going to be great. Like I'm going to like make so many sales and people are going to get to know my work. And I was so excited. I had this really, what's the word? Like unrealistic expectation. And I was very, very disappointed with how it turned out. I didn't sell one thing, not one. And it was a bit of a blow to me, to be honest, because, and I was a little frustrated. I was like, well, why does nobody want to buy my work? Like I got a lot of feedback saying, oh, like, your work is lovely. I really like this piece. I really like that piece. Can I take a business card? That kind of thing. But I sold nothing. And I did another craft fair maybe a year or so later. Same thing. And I would share a lot of my work on Facebook, or a lot of my work on Instagram, trying to build up like a following and a business. same thing. I would get maybe a couple of commissions now and again, but nothing really substantial. So at this, like, and it can be really, um, it can be really disheartening when you are trying to build it into a business, and it feels like it's not getting anywhere. And I went through that so many times, and I still go through that sometimes. This is still a mindset thing that I'm trying to work through as well, even though my business is doing a lot better. Um, but the harsh truth is that creating art and selling art is a luxury. It's not a necessity for the vast majority of people. And when it comes down to it, most people, rightly so, are going to spend their money on necessities, right? So, compared to like maybe and plus the fact that creating pieces of art like drawings, they don't necessarily have like a function to them. So like somebody that creates let's say like bath bombs, they have a function to them. You can physically use them. Or that create furniture, you can use them, you can utilize them. So a lot of things like that, they have a function, whereas a drawing or a painting doesn't necessarily have the same kind of function, right? And if you get into this idea that, well, I spent so much time on it, and like I get so much feedback, and like people saying that like, oh, they really enjoy my work, but nobody buys it. You need to get past this idea that you are owed um you are owed what's the word? Like people owe you a career. Like we chose to take this path. We chose to create art and try and make a business out of it. You have to get past this mentality that you are owed for that. I know that that's a harsh truth. I know that that might not be what you want to hear, but that's honestly, if you have that mentality, then it will really, really hold you back. Um, and it will just make you even more disheartened. It will you'll find it really disappointing, and you'll really have a hard time with it. And this is something where like you'll hear online, or you'll hear from a lot of business people is, oh, you need to find out your why. And that, like, you hear that I used to hear that all the time and think, what the heck does that even mean? Like, you have to find your why. I'd hear it all the time. You're like, I don't know what you mean by that. Like, what, how do you do that? And it's only been very, very recently that I have kind of been able to answer that question. It was actually, so I try and journal because it helps. I'm very chaotic. I have a lot of things going on in my head, all like a lot of thoughts all at the same time. And if I don't do something to kind of calm that down, then I will get really overwhelmed. So I started journaling. And what I kind of found in that process was that I am I'm drawn to create something. It's not like, oh, I need to sit down and I need to draw because I need to create content, or I need to create drawings to sell. It's nothing to do with that. I'm drawn to it. It's like I can't help myself. I have to go and sit down, and I have to go and work on art, because it's where I feel like I am the most true to myself, I guess, is the way to say it. Like, I feel like when I'm drawing, I'm peaceful, I'm content, unless something is going wrong. Then, then I have moments where I'm like, I hate this, I can't draw. Um, but they pass. Um, and I'm sure every artist has gone through moments like that where you just get incredibly frustrated with a piece because it won't go the way you want it to. But going back to what I said, yeah, for me, it's like this is what I was meant to do. This is what I am just drawn to. I can't not draw. So that is more my why. And I have to remember that. You have to dig down to what this deep rooted meaning for you is, why you are doing what you are doing. Because if you lose sight of that, then it's going to be, and you just focus on trying to get sales and trying to get followers and trying to, build a business, and it doesn't go how you want it to go, and you lose sight of why you're doing it in the first place, you're going to have such a hard time. So you really need to bear that in mind. And the last thing that I wanted to mention, these as I'm talking, I get other like things coming to me. I'm like, oh, I should talk about this. Is I know that you hear this all the time, but do not compare yourself to somebody else on social media. I know that that is much easier said than done, and I catch myself doing it sometimes too. Um, but the reason that I say this is because like by all means follow these incredible artists, but instead of comparing yourself to them, use them as I use them as inspiration. I'm like, wow, this person is amazing. Instead of me thinking, oh, why can't I be like that? Or why can't I do that? Or why can't I be at this point? I try and look at it as, wow, like they're a full-time artist. Their art is amazing. Like it can be done. It can be done. And then like also focus on how far you have come with your work as well. Like if I look at I think I have this in another one of my other videos on YouTube where I share like my starting point. If I look at my art from like 4 or 5 years ago and I look at it now, night and day difference, right? So you need to compare yourself to where you were, and your progress has to be something that, I think it's very personal, right? Something that's successful to somebody else might not be successful to you. Okay, like something that is progress to somebody else might not be progress to you. It depends on what you value, right? So like I have to think about, sometimes I would get frustrated because I'd be drawing a piece and then I'd see all these people like, oh, they're drawing they're half finished and it's already sold. And I would get to a point where I'm like, why am I doing this? Like why? But nobody's buying it. Nobody wants it. Why am I doing this? And a realization that I came to is that, like, you know what? It doesn't matter because it's not about that. What I find is that every single time I put pencil to paper and I draw something, I learn and I get better and I refine my skills. So these are the things that, this is again, it's a mindset thing. If you focus too much on like your goals aren't moving fast enough, or you're not getting enough clients, or you're not getting enough of this, that, or the other, focusing on why you are doing what you're doing and understanding that every time you draw, you're getting better and you're learning something. And this is why I feel like it's important for artists to share their journey and share their experiences, because we're all going to have different experiences. We're all going to have different approaches and different mindsets about things. And another thing is that, you know, you could have two. I think I talked about this in another video, but I'm going a little off tangent here. But when it comes to like comparing to artists, right? Or comparing two pieces, like there are so many pet portrait artists, so many incredible pet portrait artists. And like it can be easy to kind of think, well, why am I doing it then? Like, there's so many others to choose from. Why would they choose me? And what you need to remember is that you could have 10 artists side by side drawing from the same picture, the same reference photo, and the outcome could look virtually identical. However, the process that goes into that for each artist is going to be different. The techniques that they use, the thought processes that they use, their experience that they have, like it's a part of them that is coming out on the paper, and nobody can replicate that. Even if the outcome is exactly the same, the process that went into it is going to be totally different. So that's something that you also need to focus on, right? Is that when you create a piece of art, even if it looks virtually identical to somebody else's, it's not, because like the outcome might be similar, but everything that went into it, it's you, right? And it's the same for that artist. Everything that went into that piece is a part of them. So that is what makes you different from that's what makes artists different from each other. And the last thing that I wanted, yeah, I forgot about this at the start. The last thing that I wanted to talk about as well is, if you are in that process where you are trying to build a business and you're maybe like working on a lot of commission pieces, or working on stuff that is like you're doing it not for you, you're doing it like for, like maybe I don't know, maybe you're doing it with the goal of selling a piece, right? The importance of having something that you are just working on that is just for you, without that pressure of a commission piece, or without that pressure of like a timeline, or trying to get everything perfect, having something that you can work on that is for you and that you can come back to when you want to. If you get bored of it and you don't want to work on it for a little while, that's fine. It doesn't matter. If you make mistakes, doesn't matter. If you like want to go crazy with color and draw like, I don't know, a purple elephant, or like a lion in a green lion, like it doesn't matter, just like let go and be creative. The positives and the benefits from having something like that, for me, I found is really important, because if I'm working so much on commissions, I put a lot of pressure on myself. It needs to be perfect. I will get obsessive about it if I can't, if there's certain things that aren't right about it, because I want it to be right for my customer, right? I want them to love it, and I put a huge amount of pressure on myself, and like to be constantly doing that and constantly focusing on, okay, what like I need to work on this, and how can I build my business here, and how can I do this, and like all this pressure. You need to have something that is like reminds you why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. So that's why I have a few pieces that I will work on, or at least I will try to. Um, Sometimes I get a little, if I have a lot of commissions and I start working on a piece just for me, I get like I feel really guilty about it, but I'm trying to work through that because I know the benefits of it. So having something that you're working on that is just for you, that is free from all this pressure, that you can just enjoy and lose yourself in the process, I think that's something that's really important to have. So I hope these kind of like things were helpful. It's just a little bit about my experience. Again, you listen to a lot of artists, they're going to have different experiences, but I just wanted to share this and share like my thoughts on it, and my experiences so far. I'm still a long way from where I want to be, but and I think as well, like you tend to see people who are successful and have made it already. You don't tend to see a lot about people that are trying to build their way up. So I wanted to share and be honest and show you like my thought process and what I've learned so far, because I'm kind of like in the middle. I was at a point where I was making no money and no commissions, and I was super frustrated. Now I'm at a point where my mindset is so much better. I feel like, okay, this is getting somewhere. I'm getting commissions, I'm getting referrals, and it's really nice. But I'm not quite at the point where like I could do it full time comfortably. So I've still got a long way to go. But I just wanted to share where I'm at now and share maybe some of the difficulties, some of the challenges, but also some of the successes. Like it does take time, and it is a constant like work in progress, and you have to pay attention to the way that you're thinking, and it's going to take a lot more work than you expect it to. But if you're consistent and you persist at it, and you have a mindset of like, no, I can do this, then like I don't see any reason why we can't get there.